In the octave of Corpus Christi, these two readings fall very well. The first echoes the whole thrust of St. John, the beloved disciple, who has a simple message and therefore one that challenges us because there is no excuse for not seeing it. The love of God expressed in our love for each other. And the other has been taken as Eucharistic and also has come into the chant of the Church with beautiful antiphons related to it. Homo quidam, a certain man prepared a great banquet, and on it goes. These are something that we need to take with us on this day, when in many countries Corpus Christi is being celebrated, and we also will have a small celebration afterwards, as we would have on a First Friday, because not everyone was able to profit from it on Thursday itself. We will also repeat that on Friday. I have checked with Father Michael. There is no obstacle to having the Feast of the Sacred Heart celebrated here on Friday, this Friday at 11 o'clock, not 1 o'clock. And we will have then also a moment of reparation to that heart much wounded. The heart. Sometimes one goes over the Catholic world and one is edified by an intensity of sincerity in a very simple celebration. At other times, one is moved by the maximum, nothing spared. But it is not quite so simple as that. Sometimes one sees in the simple the disease of plain laziness, and in the very ornate one also finds the fault of precisely lack of charity, sometimes for the glory of God, in inverted commas, so that he may be perfectly worshipped, and who cares about charity, as long as the external is preserved. In our little celebration here, we are actually blessed by having a good balance, I would say, between the two. If one goes to a larger celebration in the old rite with a full choir, other dynamics enter in. With the fact that only we sing, only we do what is to be done, means that there's a certain authenticity and no element of theatric performance coming into it. There's no room for that. The Eucharist is the encounter of hearts. As you know, the analysis of the ancient Eucharistic miracle of Lanciano, linked, by the way, with the lance, as the name suggests. Longinus, the centurion who pierced the heart, found that blood and water was coming out. Well, that miracle, which, by the way, happened in the hand of a Basilian priest, Byzantine, who was that day celebrating in the Western Rite, because in the south of Italy there was a lot of overlap. And you know what happened. He had doubts, and the rest is history. But recent history is the analysis of it. And, as you know, it made more recent history in more recent times again, because the main professor who did it was still alive when the other recent one, parallel to it, was also presented to him without his knowing where it came from. It's what happened in the diocese of Pope Francis when he was Archbishop there in Buenos Aires. Well, they found many things, one of which was that the DNA in both cases was that of a person who hadn't a human father. That's interesting. But also the fact that it is tissue from the heart, myocardial tissue. What does that tell you? It tells you something of what was picked up also in recent years in another miracle, that of Venezuela, where this young man, middle-aged, about 40, came in and saw a second miracle over the first, that the already transformed host was burning on fire like the Sacred Heart. And he had the inspiration to put on his camcorder, which caught it. And we can see it. It's John Sanford, it's on YouTube, and it's extremely moving. One sees what? The essence of our God. He is on fire. Think of the highest passion of a boy for a girl and a girl for a boy. It's nothing compared with this frontal love from which we came and to which we return and which meets us on our journey. This week, I was somewhat upset by two things. One was when I was making for a lovely group of people, actually, a little retreat in the Hermitage. But yet again, I found that when I left them to hear their confessions in another place of the house, before the Blessed Sacrament exposed, what happened? They could not adore in peace. They start to talk, and I could even hear laughter. And it occurred to me, what is going on? We come to adore and to make reparation, and we invent means of adding yet one more thorn in the Sacred Heart. One day, I happened to wander into a church not far from the Hermitage. It wasn't unique, but it was near. And it was the day when there was Eucharistic adoration going on there. And as I came in, what did I find? Two lovely ladies before the monstrance, just a few inches in front of it, because that's the way it was, talking about all kinds of things to each other until I came in. What's going on? This time of year is the time when children receive the Lord for the first time. Here I know that Father Michael makes a great effort, and it is done with great respect physically. It's not always the case, but they try in most places to make it an experience of God. However, whatever teaching one gives on a theoretic level, the practice is so contradictory that in practice they don't believe. Look at the quality of their communion. Afterwards, not at that event, but when they start behaving normally. And some, not children so much, but adults, wearing whatever they might be wearing, blue jeans, open neck shirt, and all the rest of it. Meeting the God of gods, before whom one day they'll stand, not in blue jeans, but naked, in the nudity of the soul. But then, another shock. Actually, this very morning, a phone call from the north, from a person who was involved, actually, in the selection of vocations. She was very distressed. A very good person, devoted to the Lord, balanced and orthodox, and only wanting the good of the church. And she called me especially from the north to read to me completely what she had just found. I have not seen it because I haven't got it, but it's around, it's in the recent Catholic Voice. It's actually by the editor himself, Anthony Murphy, who's a very good man, very balanced. And it's a careful, calm, serene, ponderate analysis of things as they still are in our only nursery, the only place in Ireland where candidates can be formed to the priesthood in the diocese, or any diocese. I won't go into detail, I'll just leave it to your imagination, and you can add a bit. What is going on? Well, I'll tell you what's going on. The powers of hell have a profound and essential hatred for the Creator, and therefore for his presence on earth until the end of time in the sacrament of his love. That extends to anything that concerns it and makes it available and also protects it, the priesthood and the sacred that surrounds it. And therefore, what have we before our eyes? We have, not overnight, but little bit by little bit, the chipping away of all that pertains to the protection of the sacred and also to the belief in it. They want, it would seem, a certain model, a certain type of priest for Ireland. So what will happen? A great reason, extremely valid, will be found for encouraging him to delay, and so on and so forth. What will happen? A certain type will get through, and so with time we will have a certain type of priesthood in this land. What will happen to the others? They will go either out of the country or just get discouraged. Then what? It will be seen as a great argument for having a shortcut to ordination with new rules for getting them there, and there's pressure now in England for that. It will mean also that females will become very agitated and see here a glorious opportunity to get a point across. Now, do you think this is just human? We know from secret documents that have come out of the Freemasons as early as 1925 that many things were programmed. But the success could not have been imagined in 1925. Therefore, what we have is this. Massively over the land, and in many parts actually of the world by now, a huge, orchestrated, engineered, well-planned and effective attack on the sacred. Get at God through the Blessed Sacrament. It's a huge victory for Old Nick. And what is more, make sure that as little fruit as possible is received. Get them to receive in a state of grave sin, so as to compound their sin and make them hardened of heart. A glorious vision for the powers of hell, and one that makes the angels weep bitterly. I wrote this after my first Mass alone, just after ordination, in the place where the Eucharistic miracle took place in Orvieto, Bolsena Orvieto, which brought me to the Catholic faith years before. First time alone. Holy Mass, shortly after ordination, in an old little church near Orvieto, shrine of the miracle that in 1969 had so influenced me when yet a Protestant. O Master, here at last I stand alone with but an angel guard, and I thee call without another voice,
this silent stone laid by another age, this heavy wall built on the faith of centuries gone by, thought not that they this miracle would hold, that we today in freshness bid here lie, in but a sound or two of magic old. O chalice of much love, where many came neath Calvary to catch the blood of God in silence as it fell, the same, from hand to priested hand, here where have trod the feet of many that have long gone on. The change I saw not well, yet knew 'twas done.